Researchers studying corporate trust failures have tracked what happens to companies when the gap between what they present and what is true becomes visible. The findings are striking. When major corporations suffer trust-destroying scandals, the median firm ends up worth roughly 30% less than it would otherwise have been. Not because the product stopped working, not because the core business collapsed, because people stopped believing in the company. Because the willingness to be vulnerable, to keep doing business with, to keep investing in, to keep working for, was withdrawn. Think about the cases that define this era. Boeing, whose 737 MAX disasters were ultimately not an engineering story, but a trust story. A company that knew and did not tell. Volkswagen, whose emissions scandal was not primarily about pollution, but about a calculated decision that the gap between the real and the presented would never be found. Facebook, which built a product on the implicit promise that your data was safe, and then discovered that implicit promises are not the same as kept ones. In each of these cases, what destroyed value was not the underlying problem, it was the revelation that management knew or should have known and chose not to tell anyone. The cover, in each case, was worse than the crime. And here is what I want you to notice about that pattern. It is not unique to these companies. It is the structural logic of every reporting system that punishes disclosure. When honesty is dangerous, rational actors choose silence, and then the silence itself becomes the scandal. 4 key questions to ask yourself when you read a sustainability report. Is this company genuinely competent? Is it motivated by something beyond its own self-interest? Does it use fair means to achieve its goals? And does it take real responsibility for its impact on the world, whether that impact was intended or not? These are not compliance questions. They are questions about character, intent, and accountability. Now bring this directly into the sustainability reporting context. We are in the middle of a trust crisis in ESG disclosure, but unlike most corporate trust crises, which are triggered by companies doing clearly bad things and being caught, this one has a different character. This trust crisis is being driven substantially by companies that are genuinely trying to improve their sustainability performance, making disclosures that are technically accurate, obtaining assurance opinions, and still not being believed. Greenwashing litigation is rising across every major jurisdiction. Regulatory scrutiny of sustainability claims is intensifying at precisely the moment that mandatory reporting frameworks are expanding. Institutional investor skepticism about the decision usefulness of sustainability disclosures is at an all-time high, and the response for much of the industry has been to produce more data, more detailed frameworks, more comprehensive assurance, which has made reports longer, more technical, more expensive to produce, and somehow even less trusted than before. We are producing more assurance and generating less confidence.